I used to think working the night shift was easy. No noise, no people, just peace and quiet. But I was wrong. It starts slow, a door creaking open by itself, a light flickering in a room you just locked. You tell yourself it's nothing. You keep working. But then, you hear breathing. Not yours, not close, but near enough. You look around, empty hallways, silent rooms, and yet you feel it's something standing just out of sight. Everyone who's worked the night shift knows this feeling, that moment when the air turns heavy and your instincts whisper you're not alone anymore. These are 4 true night shift horror stories from people who lived through the darkness and made it to morning. Barely. Story 1. The Late Night Security Guard. I never thought a simple night shift would change the way I see the world. Just me, the empty office, and the hum of the fluorescent lights. The first week was normal, a little quiet, a little boring, but nothing frightening. Then the strange thing started. It was subtle at first. Files on my desk moved. Chairs slightly shifted. I told myself it was the cleaning staff. Or maybe I was just tired. But one night, I heard it. A faint whisper coming from the hallway outside the security room. Not a voice I recognized. Not a name I knew. Just a soft, almost playful whisper calling my name. I froze, heart pounding. The security monitor flickered. Empty halls, no one there. I laughed nervously. "You're imagining things," I whispered to myself. But then the whispers returned, closer this time, like someone was moving just beyond the cameras. I tried to ignore it, patrolled the building, checked every room. Nothing. No one. Then, in the break room, I found a note. Just one word written in messy, small letters, alone. I dropped the note, shook my head, maybe a prank, maybe a coworker. But later that night, I heard the footsteps, slow, measured, matching mine exactly. I stopped, they stopped, I turned, empty hallway. The lights flickered again, and on the monitor, I saw a shadow standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing, just the cold air. From that night on, I never felt truly alone in the building. Every creak, every hum, every flicker made me jump. Some nights, I swear I could hear breathing in the vents. Sometimes, a figure would vanish as soon as I turned the corner. And every time I glanced at the security monitor, there it was, just out of frame. By the end of my first month, I was exhausted, paranoid, sleep-deprived, and yet I kept returning. Because something about the night shift, something about those empty halls, it draws you in. And even when you know you're not alone, you keep walking. And maybe that's the real horror of the night shift. Story 2. The Hospital Basement. I used to work the night shift at a hospital, not as a doctor, not as a nurse, just a janitor, cleaning empty rooms, polishing floors no one walked on. Hospitals are different at night, quiet, too quiet, like the walls are holding their breath. One night, my supervisor told me to clean the basement level, storage rooms, old records, stuff no one had touched in years. The elevator doors opened with a groan. The air down there was heavy, smelled like dust and something else, something old. As I walked down the hallway, my flashlight started to flicker. I tapped it a few times. It went out completely. Perfect. I turned the corner, using the faint emergency light to see, and that's when I heard it. A hospital bed rolling slowly down the corridor. Squeaking wheels echoing through the basement. I froze. No one else was supposed to be there. No patients. No staff. I called out, "Hello, no answer." The sound stopped. Then, a single metal clang. like someone locking a door. I walked toward the noise, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear my own footsteps. There, at the end of the hallway, was a bed. Old, rusted, and strapped to it was a restraint belt. I took a step closer. That's when I saw it. A faint outline on the bed, the shape of someone lying there, but no one was there. I blinked, and the bed started rolling toward me. I ran, didn't look back, didn't care about the job. When I reached the elevator, I hit the button again and again. The doors wouldn't close, and in that moment, I saw a reflection in the metal doors behind me. A figure standing right where the bed had been. I never went back to the basement after that. Didn't need to, because sometimes, when I'm mopping the main floor late at night, I still hear it. That slow, dragging squeak of wheels on tile, coming from below, getting closer, every night. Story 3. The gas station incident. I was working the night shift at a gas station. Hours stretched endlessly. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Outside, the streets were empty. The first few nights were fine. A few cars here and there, people buying snacks, gas, coffee, nothing strange. Then, one night, it started. A man came in, tall, thin, eyes hidden under a hood. He didn't buy anything. He just walked the aisles, slowly, watching. I tried to ignore him, kept checking the security cameras. Every time I looked, he was in a different aisle, always staring. Hours passed. He didn't leave. Every time I turned around, he was closer. I thought maybe he was waiting for someone, maybe just a loner. Then I saw it. On the counter, where I kept my keys, my wallet, there was a note. I see you. No signature, no explanation, just those words. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was a prank, but every time I glanced at the cameras, the aisles were empty. I stepped outside for a smoke. The lot was empty. No cars, no man. When I went back inside, the note was gone. But the feeling stayed, like someone was standing behind me. The rest of the night, I barely moved. Every creak, every sigh of the building made me jump. When morning finally came, the man was gone. No note, no sign he had ever been there. I quit that night, never worked another night shift. Because once you feel it, that presence, the knowledge that someone is watching you, even when you think you're alone, you never forget it. Story 4. The final night shift. I was covering the graveyard shift one last time. My coworker had called in sick. The boss said, "Just make sure everything's fine." I didn't know then, but that night, nothing would be fine. The building felt different, colder, quieter, like it was waiting. I started my rounds. Empty hallways, locked offices, the faint hum of fluorescent lights above. Then I heard it. A whisper, soft, coming from the stairwell. Not my name, not words I understood, just whispering. I froze, heart hammering. I thought about leaving, but something kept me moving forward. I reached the stairwell, nothing there, just the echo of my own footsteps. I turned a corner and saw a shadow standing in the doorway of a supply room, tall, unmoving. I blinked. It vanished. I shook my head, told myself I was tired, but the feeling stayed, that heavy, watching presence. Then the alarms went off. No reason. Lights flickered. Doors slammed shut. I ran to the main office, checked the cameras. Empty halls, but on the monitor, a figure moving just out of frame. I called security. No answer. The whispers came again, closer this time, from every direction, filling the silent night. I stayed crouched behind the counter. Hours passed. The sun rose. And finally, silence. When my coworker returned the next day, I tried to explain. They laughed. It's just the night shift. You're imagining things. But I know what I saw. I know what I felt. Sometimes, late at night, when the lights flicker and the hallways go silent, I can still hear it. Whispers, footsteps, breathing. And I know I was never really alone. The night shift is never just a job. It's a test, a trial of patience, of nerves, of courage. For those who've worked when the world sleeps, you know the feeling. That silence, that presence, that undeniable sense that something or someone is watching. We've walked empty hallways. We've felt cold drafts where no windows were open, heard whispers, footsteps, doors creaking in the dark. And though the morning comes, though the sun rises and the halls fill with noise again, the memories linger. The fear lingers, the unknown lingers. These stories are true from those who lived through the long, lonely nights and made it to morning. Barely. So next time you find yourself working while the world sleeps, remember this. The night holds secrets. Some are harmless. Some will follow you forever. Thank you for joining me through these 4 nights of terror. Remember to like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments. And always, keep your eyes open. Because when the lights go out, you might not be alone.